Hey there, Daniel from growyourmusicstudio.com. Today in this live video, I want to talk about how to substantially improve your marketing in less than 30 days and the big lie that I think a lot of business owners are very tempted to believe. In the context of coaching, I've worked with a lot of music studios over the last year. In the context of coaching, I ask a lot of questions. When people want to get better results, when they want to improve their marketing, they want to grow their studio, they want to grow revenue, I ask a lot of questions, and invariably, one of the challenges that people say they have when I ask the question, okay, so what's the problem? They say, I'm not sure even where to begin. I don't know how to start. And I want to submit to you that that's actually kind of the big lie that I think we're all tempted to believe. Whenever I attempt to start something new, which even in the last year I've attempted to do some new things, attempted to learn some new skills, even in the context of my blog, I think the big lie that we're tempted to believe is I have to know how to do this thing before I can begin it. And to some degree that's true, but the lie then is to believe I'm not even sure where to begin. So in this video, just three things, I'm going to boil it down to three things. There's probably a dozen things I could talk about, but I want to help people here today actually know where to begin, and that's the topic. That's how we're going to substantially improve your marketing by the end of December if you choose to take action on these three things. Three things are marketing, commitment, and information. So, marketing. Number one, marketing is simply leverage with an effective message. So imagine this, you want to get a new student. What are you going to do? You have to talk to someone. At some point, you're going to actually have to talk to a parent of a student, or if you teach adult students, you're going to have to talk to an adult that will actually become your student. And you could go around marching from door to door, knocking on doors and trying to sell piano lessons. I'm not sure if that would actually be an effective strategy, although I know people who've done it. But you could go around knocking on doors, asking people if they want to begin lessons. Or just maybe something a little less loony, you have the opportunity to offer an introductory lesson, perhaps. And a family comes in and you get a chance, you have a captive audience, you actually get a chance to say whatever you want to this family. Marketing is simply taking a message that if you were walking around door to door trying to sell lessons, marketing is simply taking that message and just broadcasting it to a much larger degree, using a megaphone, using an amplification device, which could be Facebook ads or flyers or postcards. Here's the question, and this is where I think people miss this. They focus on the amplification, but they don't focus on what they're actually saying. If you actually had someone, captive audience, in that studio room, or if you were walking door to door, trying to sell piano lessons, do you actually have an effective marketing message that will move people to act? And I think this is where most people aren't clued in to what it takes to move someone emotionally. And what I mean is this, there are just even subtle clues that parents give off in the context of an intro lesson. If you're focusing mostly on information, you've done the instructional component of the lesson, and you're focusing on information with the parent now and telling them the logistics of lessons, the costs, your policies, when they need to pay you by, all these things. You're going to start, if you're self-aware, you're going to start notice they're getting glassy-eyed. And all this information's coming in and there's and they're just kind of shaking their head and maybe even to some degree kind of just humoring you, or maybe internally they're wondering when this is all going to be over. They know they want lessons. They think more or less most teachers are the same, and so at the end of all this they say yes. Okay, we'll do it. And then people wonder why a year later, why they have tons of fights with parents over policies and things of that nature. And ultimately, it comes down to this, that you never moved them emotionally at the beginning. You never really sold them on the service. They just came to you. They're treating you like a commodity. And what I'm really getting at here is that if you're just amplifying that, this is why your ads aren't working. This is why people aren't contacting you. This is why your website isn't working. Is that you're amplifying a message that actually really isn't even all that effective. So that's number one. Two, commitment. This one's kind of simple and is a little more tactical, but I would simply say to improve your processes around your sign-up process. This is something that I'm actually taking a hard look at myself, not only in my studio, but in studios that I'm working with. And that is how many steps does it actually take for a parent to sign up with you? A long time ago, it used to be that I just had my email address on my website and I'd say, email me, here if you want lessons. So here's what that means. The parent has to copy the email address. And don't underestimate, some people don't know how to highlight and hit Control V or Control C to copy. So that notwithstanding, so there's my email address. They have to copy that, open their email client or log into their webmail, type that in, and then type out the message. I cannot tell you how many people I must have lost over such a arcane and ridiculous process. To the same degree, if you have a contact form on your website and someone has to come to your website, fill out the contact form, then they're waiting to hear back from you for either a phone call or an email, and then you send them an email that says, here's everything that I do, here's all the logistics of beginning, would you like to come in for the intro lesson, or would you like to come in for that first risk-free lesson? And then they've got to email you back, and then you have to email them back and ask when are you available? And all, you're losing tons of people. If you simplify your sign-up processes through your website, or if you direct people directly to phone, you're going to find that fewer people drop off. So often I hear teachers say things to me such as, I don't understand why someone reaches out to me and then I send them a few emails and they never contact me back. I promise you this is possibly a very huge part of that. Reduce it down to a very, very short sign-up process. Basically, have your website, have it full of awesome marketing information, have people see that, direct everything to one single point of contact. On that contact page, have them reach out and either have them directly sign up for that intro lesson right there, or have them reach out to you, and then when they submit the form, have them come to a page where they can pick the slot they want for the lesson. I actually kind of recommend the second one better, because then you at least get their contact information and you can follow up with them by phone or email. If they come to that second page, see the information there, and then none of the spots work for them. Anyway, that's the second thing, commitment. Third is information, and I would recommend you get out a pen, and we're pretty much going to be done after this. Get out a pen, get out a piece of paper. There's the most important website that I have ever encountered for marketing. You are going to want to use this website. I use this website daily, even, and it's this. Google.com is the most important marketing website in the world, and I'm not talking about AdWords or buying ads on Google. I mean, seriously, go to Google and begin typing in questions you have. And this is where I get back to that original lie that I was talking about earlier. The big lie that we're tempted to believe is that if we just knew the exact pathway to get to the successful outcome we want, that this would all be really, really easy. It's just not true. We have to engage with information that's out there, and nothing's stopping us from doing that. Okay? So here's what I mean. And this is the story I told you I was going to tell you at the beginning. So in college, a tip that my teacher gave me in terms of within the context of my piano studies, whenever we would start a new piece for exams, he would send me up to the listening library and he would tell me to find every major concert pianist from the last 100 years, find every recording I could find of that piece by every recording that I could find in the listening library. And for some pieces, for popular pieces like La Campanella or Rachmaninoff's Prelude in G minor, or a Chopin Fantasy, you could find a dozen different people playing them. And he'd say, systematically listen to them, take notes on all of these, and then he said, Daniel, here's the way to become a great, great artist. It's a 3-step process. 1, listen to everything you possibly can. 2, copy it. 3, and then this is the most important part. Forget where you heard it. That was the advice. I'm going to give you a very, very similar piece of advice when it comes to marketing, that there is no reason to reinvent the wheel. You've got Google.com. If you want to know how to get more people using Facebook ads, go to Google and type in how to get more customers using Facebook ads. You'll probably get over 1 million results. There's no reason you couldn't read the top 10 of those articles. I promise you do that, you are probably smarter than 95% of the small business owners out there that have not taken the time to do that. This is simple advice, but most people just won't take it. If you want to know how to run Google AdWords, you want to know how to improve your website, Google.com, type in that exact phrase, read the top 10 articles. It will probably take you an hour or two. Most of the things that Google is returning on the first page of search results is pretty in-depth, to be quite honest, because Google's picking that as the best stuff. Second thing, and this is kind of going back to the illustration I was giving with my college experience, and that is this. Use Google to find very large, very successful studios in your area, music schools, maybe have enrollment of 300, 400, 500, 600. They have huge budgets. And I know this because I've worked with studios like this. They've got big budgets. They have a lot of money to burn on student acquisition. They have a lot of money to burn on growing their revenue and growing the student number in their studios. Look at what they're doing on their website. I'm not saying copy it, not by any stretch of the imagination. I'll even tell you that once I started writing my blog, and 3,000-4,000 people a month now come and read the blog. When that started happening, people even started coming to my website. I started seeing traffic come to my website from all over the world, and I just ran a little check and saw if people were using words off my website. And sure enough, other studios had taken things I'd written on my website and copied and pasted it directly onto their website. So I'm not saying to copy. I don't ever think that's a good idea. In fact, Google will penalize you for copying another website. They know who was there first, and then they'll slap you. What I'm saying is look at what's working. Look at the flow. Even perhaps look at their sign-up process. Look at exactly what they're doing. And again, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. I'm not saying copy it. I'm saying look at what they're doing. Look at color choices. Look at how much or how little text is on pages. Look at what they're choosing to focus on, because they didn't get to 600 students by being bad at marketing. I can promise you that right now. You can get to 100 to 200 students on bad marketing, but you can't get over that with bad, mediocre, subpar, ineffective marketing. So, again, Google.com, look at 3 big music schools in your area. Google for other cities as well, and just become a student of what actually works. And in the same way that I would listen to some of those really, really great genius piano players playing songs I was playing for exams, and I would kind of go through and pick, I really like what he's doing here. I love what Valentina's doing there. Evgeny Kissin, I love his whole finale. Like, over time, I began to develop my own style. I began to develop a taste for what these people were thinking, and it helped me as an artist. In the same way, I've done the same thing with marketing. It was a big part of my education, just looking at what works. You might go to dance studios near you. You might go to karate studios near you and look at what works for them as well. There are just so many opportunities to learn simply using Google. And then that leads me to kind of my final thing, because a lot of times I'll get pushback from people and say, there's just so much information on Google. How could I possibly know what to start with? And I'll end with this. If you're not sure where to start, and let's say you want to run Facebook ads, and you go and do a Google search for Facebook ads, and you look at all the things that they tell you to do, and you're still not sure what you should be doing, or there's some other concern that pops into your head, or there's something that's confusing to you, whatever it is that's stopping you, like whatever it is that you're thinking about, I would do it except for that one thing right there, that's actually a real problem. It's not information, but oftentimes we use the information, we use not knowing how to do something as the excuse to stop doing things. And I will tell you that if I did that, had I done that, I never would have tried AdWords. No one in the piano teaching world was recommending AdWords 6 years ago when I first started really utilizing it. In a way, our industry is still kind of stuck in the dark ages in terms of marketing. But back then, I mean, the thought of running ads on Facebook would have been really weird to people in 2010, 2011 when Facebook's ad product first came out. And what I'm simply saying is that if you don't try something, the learning curve is just, you're always going to be at the very bottom of the learning curve and you're never going to make progress. So that's what I have for you today. That's 3 ways to substantially improve your marketing over the next 30 days. I will tell you, I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be doing a live video 5 days a week, all through December. I'm doing it just for fun. I really have nothing that I'm working on. There's nothing going on behind the scenes. I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm just doing this 5 days a week throughout December, probably around the 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. time frame, Eastern Standard Time. And just doing this, I'm kind of enjoying the interaction that I'm getting a lot of emails. After people have seen the video, a lot of great comments. So if you have a question about anything I said here, leave it in the comments below. If there's a question you'd like me to answer on a future live video, leave it in the comments below and indicate that you'd like me to answer it in the future. More than happy to do that. I've got tons of stuff to talk about. I've got over 180 blog post ideas in my blog post folder that in this lifetime, I'll never be able to finish this post folder. So it's not as if there's a shortage of things for me to talk about, but I would love to answer your questions if you have them. So anyway, have a great day. Signing off right now, and I'll catch you tomorrow at around this same time. Bye-bye.